Our guest had to kind of rearrange a couple of things, and we did the same. So thank you so much for watching a little bit earlier. Today, we're going to be figuring out, is Dallas really starting to look more and more like Austin, or are we going to start to see some other trends kind of come in play? And to help us discuss between Dallas and Austin, we have Mr. Ian. We'll call you Ian of Austin. Mr. Ian of Austin.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ian, can you tell our viewers or my viewers a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in real estate, and what you're doing in Austin?
Well, what I'm doing in Austin is everything, but we'll get back to that. So I've been a realtor, gosh, I think it's been like 6.5, almost 7 years. It's kind of crazy. Time's flying. Market's moving really fast. What did you ask? How did I get here? What else did you ask me?
How long is, yeah. Well, you already asked, tell us a little bit more. Like, you have a family, kids, single guy. What's going on there?
Okay. So I got married in 2019. That was fun. My wife moved here with me. My now wife moved here with me like 7 years ago. And so I figured she's a keeper, Yeah. It's great. She came here. We bought a house after renting. So we relocated from Chicago. We rented for a little bit. It wasn't even a year. I was like, nope, got to buy a house. We can't play this game. Glad we did. Our house, the home value's easily doubled since then. And it's just been incredible. It's been an incredible journey. We just got a puppy last week, 2 weeks ago. He is 2 months and 2 weeks old. So
new change there. Yeah.
That's a challenge. But it's good. It's all, kind of the joys of life. So, and then Austin itself, Austin is one of those places. I mean, listen, you love Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Like you love it. Okay. Well, I love Austin, and I'll explain it this way. I feel like you can do so many things in such a variety. It's like an amalgamation of cultures and people and food and art and like mountain biking, like hiking, mountain biking, trails and water and all that sort of stuff. But unlike Dallas, it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get to any of these things. In my opinion, that's my opinion, right? And in Dallas, It feels like it just takes longer because it's such a big city. And I'm from Chicago, so I know big cities, I'm not Austin, and Austin is growing, and that's part of the discussion today. So it was nice. It was nice to be able to go all these places. We'll talk about how we'll talk about how things are being affected as a result.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a good plan. So how it's going to work a little bit today is we are going to be discussing a couple of different articles, between Dallas and Austin, and kind of just talk a little bit about those that are relocating here, because there are many, many people that are relocating to the area. Talking a little bit about that today is going to be mainly I think our biggest focus. But let's go ahead and start with this article here from Culture Map. So I have to kind of go over here. So it says Austin, surprisingly not the favorite Texas city for new residents during the pandemic. So it kind of goes on to say, and this was written back in February of this year. So as we were starting to kind of slowly come out of things here in Texas, Austin, I guess, it almost seemed like for a while there, Austin just kind of had its way and was just like, everyone's moving to Austin. This business is moving to Austin. That business is moving to Austin. Look at all these great things moving to Austin. And then it seems almost like now there's a new, shining star in Texas, so to speak, that people are getting more and more attracted to. And Austin's going to be like, oh, you're moving where to Austin? Oh, good luck.
I have so much to say about this.
Yes, tell us.
So many things to say. So, okay, I think the first thing you got to look at is people. Where's the largest influx of people you're seeing relocate? Where are they coming from?
I would say probably the Northeast.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I'd say it's split between the Northeast and some Californians too. So it is kind of halvesies between those. A lot of people from the North that are sick of the cold weather.
Yep.
They're choosing Texas over Florida, and they are relocating here to Dallas in droves. At least from my immediate business, that's what I've been seeing. I have helped more people from the Northeast relocate than I have from California. Not to say that they're not coming from California, because they're coming still. But I would say Northeast is pretty prominent.
Well, that's
for here.
interesting. I'd probably say about 50% are coming from California. I do have people
Okay.
from New York and like Ohio and some of the other major cities or Midwest areas, Michigan, all that. Florida, I had one guy come from Costa Rica. So I mean, I have people relocating all over, but I would say the large majority here. Did my voice just crack? The large majority here is 50% is from somewhere in California, northern or southern California. It depends if they're investors. It depends, but yeah, a lot from California. So where I wanted to go with that is, if you look at the drive times from, like, I don't know, from one of the major cities to one of the other cities in California, or even the suburbs to LA, there are people that are driving 2 and 3 hours in LA. Right? That's what I hear.
Or even the commute. I've heard that traffic is just
that's
awful.
what I mean. So yeah. I'm talking the commute, just their daily commute. And I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. Well, that's the distance from Austin to Dallas. That's like nothing to people. Yeah. So I think when people are looking at the prices, the price increases, the inflation in Austin, and then they compare it to Dallas. They're like, well, you know, a couple years ago, we could have got it for this, but now Austin's up here.
Right.
Dallas, they could still get what they're looking for. Might be a little further out, but if that fits their needs, then there you go. So the price points are, I'm sure that's a topic we'll get to, but yeah. Price points in Austin to be close to downtown, because people call me, they're like, I want to be within 15 minutes, 30 minutes of downtown. Well, shoot, one of our suburbs, Leander, Cedar Park. Have you heard of that place?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's only 20 to 30 minutes northwest of Austin. And that one just exceeded the median home sales price. It exceeded Austin's median home sales price.
Yep. That sounds about right. Yeah. It's a suburb. Yep.
It's crazy. So now if people want to be in the city, they have to bring it. They have to have the resources to make it happen.
Yeah, I think no matter where you go. So I kind of want to continue on with this a little bit too. It said that, you know, and this is actually coming from New York. So Mayor de Blasio tweeted, you know, move over Austin, because as the song says, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And it's easier than ever for young dreamers to make it in the greatest city in the world. Because I think people are moving out of New York, out of the big city, out of Manhattan, because they know that they don't have to work. You know, if they can work remotely, they're not going to stick around in the city. Why would you pay, you know, $5,000 in rent for a, I don't know, something very small in Manhattan, when you could, you know, if you're working remotely, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So he was more or less, the article goes on that he was trying to create some sort of a feud between, I think, the arts, and the art scene, I would guess, in Austin compared to New York. Kind of tell us a little bit about the art scene there in Austin. Oops, sorry about that. Remove.
I mean, I have good and bad, right?
Okay.
So the good is that we have been known as a very diverse place, very much focusing on art, the arts, all sorts of arts, from plays to, I mean, I do symphony in the park and that sort of thing. You have murals all over the place. Thing is, the price points are making it where artists, I mean, you always hear the term starving artists. Well, now it's even harder.
Right.
The price points are like that. So I don't know if that's making it, I'm going to assume, I'm going to be careful with that word, that it's making it so much more difficult that it's actually starting to drive some of our local artists away, or either further out. And so that's a little bit of a worry to me.
Right. Either that, or you're going to start to see if the cost of living for housing is going up, then maybe the artists demand more money.
Yeah.
And
I
and
mean,
that, I
if I
mean,
walk into a coffee shop and they've got this painting on the wall, it's literally, it's like cha cha, 2 3 colors. It's like an asterisk in 5 different colors. It looks like a rainbow asterisk. And I walk up to it and I look. I was like, does that say $4,000?
yeah,
Oh, so that's the kind of stuff that I see right now. And look, I get it. It's expensive for everybody, everywhere, everything. Everybody needs a place to stay. But
yeah,
man,
Manhattan was kind of the same story though. I mean, if you think about it, but I wonder how much, because Manhattan's not cheap,
no.
not cheap. And those that are trying to make it right in the city. Um, I mean, I don't want to say that Austin's going to become like a Manhattan or like in New York, but I can see that if the art scene does continue, it's either going to be, like, yeah, it's expensive to live here, just like it's expensive to live in Manhattan. That's just kind of the reality of the how it is. What do you
So
have to say about that part of it? Sorry.
I think that Manhattan and Dallas, I'm gonna lump those together, and
Okay.
here's where I'm gonna do that. They're at the point where they are so large that they've essentially swallowed their suburbs. And then that became Dallas, and now they have more suburbs, right? Austin isn't quite there yet. Our suburbs, like we have the greater Austin area, like our greater Austin metro area is smaller than the city of Dallas. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it is. Let me
Yeah.
let me
Yeah. I'm
that's
pretty sure
correct.
you're right. Like
Yeah.
but I don't know the so how Dallas is more set up. Austin is more spread out.
Yes.
So you are, when you're driving from Austin to Leander, let's just say
Yep.
that city
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
When you're driving, is there just open space and field in between the city, or is it starting to grow between those two areas?
Not anymore. You have to go to Liberty Hill. You have to go to town past Leander to start seeing nothing.
Okay.
Like
So
to start
that
seeing cows and stuff. And even
and
there, they're building up like crazy. There's so many cranes in the sky. 30 cranes just downtown alone. It's a lot.
yeah, I think that Dallas has been that way for a little while, but it is a bigger city for sure than
It is.
Austin. But Austin is, and that's one of the articles that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Austin is starting to get caught up a little bit in as being one of those big metro areas. And the as far as Dallas goes, the city of Dallas is very large, but then you have right around, once you get to a certain point, you start to get into those suburbs like Garland, Rockwall, Rowlett, Richardson, Plano. You start to kind of get into other cities, but you have to go past those suburbs probably about another 30 minutes before you
So
see the green space
so from
between
like
things then.
the downtown hub to Plano, how far is that?
30 minutes.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
In traffic? What is it in traffic?
Um, maybe 40. I mean, that's if
That's not bad.
if there's a wreck. I mean, traffic's usually not an issue because there's multiple ways to get through downtown, either through back roads or through other highways, coming from the north side and from the south as well. So
Okay. That's not
yeah,
bad.
it's set up pretty good. It's set up like we have a couple of circles that loop around Dallas. So 635 is one of those loops, loop 12.
That is a deficiency here. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you, that's a big one. Our public transportation and then our looping system. In Chicago, we had the L train, which was kind of the same thing. It's just a train that go around the city. Here in Austin, you have a T, right? And you have 35, and then you have the river that kind of like separates them. And so when you're north of the river being Lady Bird Lake or Town Lake, depending on when you looked at it, north of the river,
Yeah.
you never end up going south unless you are prepared to sit in traffic, and kind of the same the other way around. So if you're south, you don't go north. It doesn't happen because traffic can jump from being, 20 minutes from one place to another to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
It's crazy if you have to go from south to north just because of that. Just because
Because there's no loop. There's no loop
loop.
around.
We had a loop. And we have highways, we have like toll roads
We
and
have
stuff.
back roads and stuff
Why?
too that people can take,
But
but
it's
it's
not.
still
Yeah, it's not as efficient as Dallas. Not yet.
not yet. Yeah. Yeah. It's
We
okay.
need some tunnels. Elon, build some tunnels. Boring companies here. Get it going.
All right. So I want to kind of go on to a little bit more of into this article. So it says that coupled with some big technology companies such as Oracle, Digital Realty, moving operations to Austin, many of these articles have heralded our fair city as the shining beacon of light to which all coastal elites are flocking. But new data from Redfin says that actually not Austin pulling the most newcomers to Texas. So this is what I really found interesting about this article. It goes on to say that based on the data, so we've got, see, this was published in February of 2021. Let's see. So this talks about how they calculated it. So based on the data, Austin is actually the number 5 metro area with the biggest net inflow of people. So, and that was, let's see, last year, the capital city welcomed 46,958 new residents. That is a lot of people. Which is, they're going on to say more than any other year in the past decade. So it's just this past year, the influx has been intense, right? And that's where you got to see those multiple offers, the shortage of inventory. I mean, no joke. I mean, 46,000 people is a lot of people to be moving to a city that doesn't, like you said, it doesn't necessarily have that infrastructure yet. It's built out a little bit, but that's a lot of people. But here's what it kind of went on to say. Other cities around Austin, it said, let's see, homes for sale down 19.2% year over year. Shooting prices up 15.2% to a median of $370,000 across the Austin Round Rock Metro. Does that number sound pretty good for February's numbers?
Yes,
Okay.
but I'll come back.
Yeah.
It's a yes, but
Yeah.
well, so here's the part that we're missing.
Okay.
I used to be pretty big in stats, and you can manipulate the numbers to look however you
Right.
want. And
Yeah.
what they're not talking about is what types of people are moving here. Are we talking blue collar? Are we talking artists? Are we talking food industry? Are we talking tech? That's very different. And then based on that, like let's say it's tech, the average tech family, like if you think about that, generally is smaller from just like looking at the numbers versus, let's say, I'm going to say like a blue collar factory worker family. I don't know why that is, but that's just what it seems like it is. It's a smaller family versus this other style of person. Well, if they're bringing 5 people and that's counting toward the numbers versus somebody who's coming like 2 dinks, like 2 people that are just, dual income, no kids.
Right.
Like, so if they're counting that toward the numbers, that's not really a fair comparison, is it? Yep. And then you have to talk about like the salaries, the resource. Yeah. Anyway, that number, it can be skewed. It can be skewed.
I could see how it could be skewed. Are they? Let's see how they determined it. Then let's see what they did. So it says
even when they talked about the jobs, like notice here we talked about Digital Realty and Oracle, both huge tech companies, but this is in February.
Right. This is in February.
Tech companies,
right,
since then that have announced that they're relocating their headquarters here or opening large facilities here. So
right. Yeah, so it says using net inflow. So pandemic induced migration using net inflow, number of homes for sale compared to last year, median home price, and
so
new
we have homes for sale. But if we're in a, I think Austin is still, or at least was based on this time frame, in a lower inventory position, right? We don't have, unless they're using percentages, we don't have near the volume of homes that Dallas does. So of course it's going to be a lower number.
Right, right. So, but I would still, I don't know. I still think you got, I think more people per, guess per capita, if that's the right word, like more people wanting to be there, like be in the city of Austin than you would another metro area. Because like you said, if we're comparing apples to apples, if we look at all the homes that are available in Austin and the number of people moving there versus the number of homes available in the Dallas area and all the people that are moving there, there is a big difference. And that's why I can really see if you had more people that were wanting to move there, and that doesn't include, these numbers apparently don't include renters. I mean, those that were,
yeah.
I mean, those that are renting an
Huge.
apartment. Yeah, right. So this is just housing and new construction is mainly where they are pulling their stats, their numbers, like you were talking about.
I wonder, so this is Redfin that published this article, right? That did this report?
It wasn't Redfin. It was actually the Austin Culture Map.
But it was Redfin that they
But they got the numbers from Redfin. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, now I would be like, Redfin is having a hard time in Austin because of the low inventory. And so they're like, let's pump up Dallas and maybe we can gain a larger market share over there. You never know.
Yeah.
And their navigation of all this stuff.
Right. But I will say that the growth that you're experiencing too. So it goes on to say that, you saw a big increase in a lot of your suburbs. So we've got, well, I guess, hang on. Let me go. Let's see which city is pulling the most newbies in Texas. And it said that would be Dallas. We kind of talked about this.
How many new builds do you have? Like new construction homes, just like compared to resale homes, how many of your homes sold in the last year would you say are new construction? Do you think?
Probably, I mean, it's on the low end. I would say most people are looking at resale. I would say it's probably maybe 20%.
Here we have so many people that are going for a new construction home. Well, a lot of our builders are being
not nice.
Greedy. I'm going to say greedy. Okay. One of our builders, stingy. Stingy is the word I was actually looking
for. Okay, I like that word.
Stingy in their release schedules. And it could be materials or whatever they want to say. But
in the sales rep too. It depends on the sales
rep. The sales reps. Yeah. And so like we have all these people that want to build and we have all this land. So our growth constraints, I think, are kind of held back by some of these new construction builders. I know they can build some of these houses and they don't have to inflate the prices like they are, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
So that's
a lot of the excuses is, well, we ran out of doors, we ran out of windows, or the windows are on back order, or lumber costs, lumber costs. It's all about lumber costs. And, they've gone up so much. Do what?
I'll get a tarp and put it over the window, like those cars that had the window bashed out and you just have the little piece of tarp, like the garbage bag. That's fine. It's fine for the moment. We just need a house. Like you have so many people that are trying to move here and build a house and they just can't do it. They want to be here so their kids can be in school.
Right.
We're in July. If you haven't bought already, it's not happening.
It's getting close. It's getting close.
I had somebody, we just put one under contract and their estimate. So it is July 24th. We did it last Wednesday.
Okay.
Their estimated completion was July of 2022.
Yes, that sounds about right.
What
for here?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
A year? I mean, I've had like custom homes, but this is like a production builder. What are you telling me a year for? Crazy.
So yeah, that's what I've been. So a lot of if it's more of a track builder, like DR Horton, I would say that they're probably the biggest, most well-known across the United States as far as track builders go.
Yep.
Their timelines, it used to be, I think, 4 months, and I think they're pushing like 6 or maybe even 8 months now for their stuff. And then anyone else is like, at least, you're looking at maybe 9 to 12 months.
Are they doing you like they're doing us? So DR Horton is a perfect example. What they're doing for us is they're not even letting you build a house. They're like, when we're 3 months out from being completed, we'll let you guys bid on it. Here you go. It's like, oh,
like, so like the release, the gradual release of lots. Yes, that they're doing that.
10 homes this week. Take it or leave it. bids are
I've
starting at
seen I've
450.
seen properties come back on the market too for even new construction. So I've been really on the lookout for those. I actually helped someone move, and we actually went into one area. The sales rep said, I just got one that came back on the market. Do you want to see it before it's completed in May? And we said, yes, we do. And so we ran over there and we put an offer in on it. We didn't have to compete against anyone. It was like such a, we'll just call it a God moment, because it really was. It was like glorious. And I'm just like, let me know. I told that sales rep, let me know if you have anything else that just pops back up, because I'm sure I could have someone like ready for that house.
Yep,
So
that's good.
yeah. But now, so we are seeing we are seeing more people though. I would say that at the peak time here was probably right around April, May,
Yep.
when it
Same.
was nuts. It was nuts. It was like the top of the top, the craziest of the crazy. That was right about May timeframe. And buyers were afraid. With every offer they put in, they just put a little bit more risk, a little bit more risk. I think for one person, I wrote 13 offers until we finally, with every offer, they just took like another level of risk and another level of risk until finally we got, everyone to the same point, really. Now it's kind of slowing down a little bit, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yep.
Now, I will say that, unlike Austin, there is more availability in the outskirts. But here's what I'm running up against now. The outskirts, the areas of affordability that were here, even let's just say 3 months ago, are no longer affordable anymore. We're seeing areas that are just outside of McKinney, just outside, and these are cities that their schools are okay. They're not like Frisco ISD or they're not like the top of the top or whatever. They're still good schools. But they're not as desired areas. Let's just put it that way. They're a little bit less desirable. They're a little bit more affordable. And I looked to see if there were any properties in those areas that were, I even looked further north, like close to Sherman, close to the Red River, thinking maybe I'll find something that's right around $200,000. And I'll tell you what, there was nothing but junk. Nothing but overpriced junk at $200,000. And these are like homes that are like cash only, like remodel me kind of places. And I'm going, oh my goodness, like everything's jumped up at least $100,000, at least everything. And in those areas that are more affordable, like you can't get into anything unless you're at least $240,000. That's going far out in past the green, past the city, getting on into the greener parts, right? The less populated parts of town too. So I was surprised, to say the least.
I had a lady buy a house in one of our suburbs. It's called Pflugerville.
Yeah.
She bought it 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And we just sold it. We actually close in a little bit. Close Monday or Tuesday. And she is netting 200,000 more.
Yep, that sounds about right.
I'm like, talk about timing. And here's the thing. I have so many people calling me saying, hey, Ian, I see all your videos. You talk about this, you talk about that. Thing is, I've done videos for a while. So people are looking at like old content. They're looking at videos from a year ago. And I say, oh, you get this house for $350,000. That same house right now, builders are selling for like 500.
Gosh.
600,000. Same house that I did a walkthrough of. And it's so crazy. The way it's shifted. It's interesting. Are you seeing that? So you said it started to taper off a little bit where you are. Did it taper off? It looks like according to that it was like 9% over, month over month, or was it higher or lower? What would you say?
So now as compared to 3 months ago?
Yeah.
I would say there are still buyers out there, but there are more homes that are coming on the market.
Hmm.
We're starting to see more and more people decide to put their house on the market, and we are seeing more homes come back on the market. I think the back on the market really has to do with, did the buyer see the property? If they didn't see
Yes.
the property and they fly in and they're like, nope, this isn't it, they just back out. And, that hurts the seller. I hate to say it, but
Yeah.
if they haven't seen the property, I mean, I'd be very leery to accept an offer, even if it's great, if they haven't seen the property, because that could come back and bite you.
Yep.
And we are seeing, at least here in our area, things are starting to slow down, probably in the like $700,000 price range, like to where, because I'm working with a couple of clients in that range, and they're a little bit, they're pickier, which I feel like they should be if they're spending that much money. I don't
Okay.
mind that at all. But I feel like we put in an offer for a property that was, I mean, it was so small. It was like 2,600 square feet, and it was, the seller had paid 505,000 in this last year in September, and they were asking 725,000 for that little property. And we were just like, I don't think that it's worth 725. All the comparables were showing that it wasn't. Now, maybe as time progresses, maybe they'll get that, but the lowest they came back to us at was 715, and we're just like, you guys are nuts. Like, this
Hmm.
isn't really worth what it is. And we stuck to our guns, because I knew that it was overpriced. The reason that it's been sitting for 20 days is a great indicator that it's overpriced. The property is great. It's not
Yeah.
condition, so it's got to be price. The location is great as well. So it's price. And the agent was like, oh, well, we priced it based on, the builder and what you can get in new construction. And I'm going, yeah,
This isn't
but
a new construction.
not a good
This isn't
strategy.
March.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are you doing?
I said, people paying the price for new construction now,
Mhm.
their home in a year when it's done should appreciate. Like, that makes sense to me. But if you're saying that your home is already worth $200,000 more, or more, beyond $200,000 more for a used property, right? It's
Yep.
still used, it's not brand new. And and you're and also too, this was the other thing. I was just like, you're overpriced when you say this. Oh, well, the sellers, they want a full waiver of the appraisal. They're not going to accept any offer without the full waiver of the appraisal. I'm going,
I just
yeah.
had one of those 20-minute, like right before we started this live. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going, yeah, you just sit there and you'll
Well,
realize pretty
you
quick.
said it was 30 days on the market?
20.
20
Close.
days. Okay.
Almost. We're getting close to a month for them.
What would you say is average for you right now? Like, just seeing homes on the market. What's your average home sit for?
Oh, I mean, I would say it's probably closer to 5 days now. I think it is slowing up unless it's really good. If a home, we are still seeing homes, that come on the market and they go off the market really quick, but there's not as many offers.
I
So,
see.
whereas before you were maybe competing against 20 or 30 people, and now you're competing against, 2 or 3,
Mm.
and you have multiples, right? Um, that's what I would say if I only had one other offer. I'd be like, they were like, how many offers do you have? And I'm a listing agent. I'd be like, multiple.
Yep.
So, um, so what I wanted to also ask you a little bit about is, what is the market doing right now in Austin? I mean, are things starting to slow down similarly, or is there still a mad rush for everything?
So I think you compare it to the same. It's kind of the same thing that you're experiencing. I think just at higher percentages. So
Okay.
in December, you started seeing things go up. 45% increase in price. It's like, whoa. And then you saw it go up another 35%, another 60%. Like, you just saw these crazy stacking tiers of numbers. And now it's like way up here. Well, today, I think we're at the point where people have gone up and up and up so much. And it's at the same time, now you're seeing a few more properties come onto the market because builders are starting to release. And you've had a few of these properties where people have backed out because they were like, I can't, it's too much stress. And then they say, I'm not moving to Austin. I'm gonna move it to Dallas or somewhere else, or I'm going back to California. Like I don't want to deal with it right now.
Right.
Or people that are waiting. And so we're right. I feel like we're at a plateau in a sense that you have a lot of people that are still interested, but they're kind of eyeing it. And you have people that are putting in a little over asking with appraisal waivers. It's not an issue. I did have one appraisal come back a little bit lower. But overall, I would say they're pretty good. I haven't had very many issues with appraisals. So I know that the pricing, as long as you read the comps and you pay close attention, it's good. We had people that were like, here are the comps. Here's where I'm going to list it.
Yep.
And then they were still selling it. And so now that's the new comp because people were like, yeah, I'll pay an extra 100,000 cash. Yeah. I don't think people are paying an extra 100,000 cash today unless the house is worth it. And there are some houses that are worth it. So I just did one and it's like an acre, 1.3 acres.
Oh yeah.
And there were really, the comps were showing, $1.6 million.
Okay.
And so we ended up getting this house. I can't really tell you, but not that much, but more than it was listed for. So we did have to go over, but it worked out. It was perfect.
So it sounds like the pricing was a little bit under.
Intentionally so. And you know what? Here's the difference. I've noticed that experienced agents are pricing it well.
Yep.
Agents with a little less experience, maybe they're newer to real estate or they don't do a lot of residential or something. They're just kind of going with what the seller says in most cases. Right. And so they're not really necessarily coaching or they don't know. They're like, oh yeah, let's try it. Well, I mean, I don't want to have a property that sits on the market for a long time either. If I can't support it, if I can't defend that price point, I don't want to list it there. I'd rather list it at where I know it's going to appraise at. And if we get higher,
then the market will drive it up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The market's gonna tell you either way. And that's the conversation that I have with my sellers all the time, that if you price it here and the market tells you here, then you were priced too high. If you put it on the market here and the market drives you up, you knew that we were just a little bit under what it needed to be. The market is going to be the indicator for the supply and demand. If you try to price it way up here and you sit for a long period of time, people are going to start to question it. People are going to start to wonder, like, what is going on with this property? Why is it sitting? Something must be wrong. That's the perception, and you'll always get lower offers. Always get lower offers.
Yep. And I just listed a house today, and that's kind of the same thing. I listed it where it should be listed at. But here's the thing: in that neighborhood, I just put this video on my channel. In that neighborhood, it's the only one available with a double-sized lot and fully paid for solar panels.
That's nice.
It's not. The seller, their current electric bill is like anywhere from negative $15 to $30 a month. And so whoever's purchasing the home gets that as an added value. It's not going to go for the list price. It's going to go for higher, no doubt. I mean, I don't have any doubt.
Yeah. So Ross had he said, Austin is more expensive than Dallas. Kind of tell us a little bit about that. What is the entry level? If someone wanted, and we'll just say, let's do apples to apples and do suburbs. If someone wanted to live in an Austin suburb and they have, wanted just a basic 3-bed, 2-bath, what are they looking to spend in the suburbs?
Okay. So before I go too far into depth, I want to say one thing with Austin. I don't know if it's like that in Dallas. And you can help me with this. Yeah. Every single neighborhood has a different tax rate and a different set of HOA costs, and could affect the home insurance if it's in a floodplain or, based on when it's built or so because of that, the house that's, 400,000 here and 400,000 there becomes unaffordable in certain places if you're not aware of those things. So that is really important. But I
Okay.
would say if you're in a median, like an average tax rate, an average HOA for us, it's like $50 a month. Average
Yeah.
tax rate is like 2.85
Okay.
percent,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Based on the sales price of the home, and then average insurance is probably $1,000 a year for a premium, right? So you
Okay.
take all those things, I would say 425,000 right
Okay.
now is a solid entry point to get
Okay.
into the market. Conventional,
Conventional. Okay.
conventional for a
And
suburb. Now
and
we're
is
not
that
talking Austin proper.
right? We're talking about suburbs, and
Yeah.
then also for Austin, for the suburbs there too. Do all of the neighborhoods and all of the communities have a mud, a pit, or a PUD tax attached to them as well, or just some of them, certain ones?
So I would say it's like 50-50, whether it
Okay.
depends. So the way you
How
can
close to
tell,
the city, probably?
so city, but also is it new construction, right? So a lot of
Okay.
the new construction, in order for them to
Expand out.
accelerate development,
Yeah.
they're paying, they're
To
initiating
put up
these months
the
to get this stuff to
yeah.
come out.
Hmm.
Sorry, I've got a call coming in.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, they're putting these muds into place, and then you also have so here's the other thing. From that subset, half of those new developments don't have gas, so it's
Okay.
all electric.
All
So
electric. Yep.
so the ones that are all electric usually have a lower tax rate,
Yeah.
right? And so yeah, that ends up being quite the conundrum for people to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. So for a suburb here, I would say entry level, you're probably closer to the 350s if it's a nice one. If you wanted to, if you could still probably find something in the $300,000 in a, you know, not like your A listed suburb. So if you wanted to go to, let's say, Princeton or Little Elm or Savannah or Providence Village, any of those like small little conglomerates, or even over a little bit further out, closer to Lake Lavon in Josephine, and maybe even parts of Anna as well, and Melissa. And in any of those cities, you could probably find a decent 3-bed, 2-bath,
So
depending on the
are we talking like
neighborhood.
2,000, 2,500 square feet?
Um, that's a
Or
good
are we talking
question.
smaller?
Probably, yeah, a smidge smaller, maybe
Okay.
1,800 square feet.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Entry point about that.
about that. Yeah, for
Less
those
than
smaller,
2,000 square
but
feet.
that's $300,000 in those smaller cities. If you want to get into a little bit more established city, like if you're wanting to get into, say, like Frisco, Plano, McKinney, you're looking at least at 350 for something decent that's not old and decrepit,
Yeah.
that needs a lot of work. And obviously, depending, a lot of times too, when it's some of the new construction, though, I'm surprised. Some of the new construction, if it's closer proximity to a certain part of a city, then you will avoid the mud pit or PUD taxes. But obviously, if it's further out and they're having to establish those utility districts, then they are going to have, that extra tax added on to it as a result. Now we're only talking, what, I think $1,500 a year about for these taxes, these extra taxes. And I would say the tax rate, it doesn't vary per neighborhood here. It varies per city. So you have your city tax, your county tax, and then you've got your school tax, is how it's kind of breaking down in usually 3 different categories. Now, if you are closer into a major city like Dallas or Plano or a major city, they will add on a community college tax as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Usually that's what kind of bumps it up. And I am seeing that these smaller areas, even though they're more affordable,
Yeah.
your tax rate is a little bit higher. Now I'm not talking like 3% or anything nuts like that for
No,
us here.
that's
But
just getting started here.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
but
It's
I
not that
mean,
bad.
you're, instead of paying like here in McKinney and Frisco, it's closer to that 2.3% price when it comes to taxes. And then if you go to, say, over to Princeton, it may be like 2.5. So you are paying a little bit more in taxes, but the affordability is a little bit better in those
Uh,
areas. But now that affordability is starting to go out the window,
yep,
um, it's heartbreaking. I mean,
it is.
so I would say that yeah, Austin is probably a more expensive city than Dallas in general. Would you say as a result of that? Okay, big
Based
side.
on those numbers, based on those numbers
Yeah.
and what you just said, I am going to agree that right now Austin and the suburbs are more
Yeah.
expensive than Dallas, but you still have less time to travel. You still have 30 minutes, right? To get to the city, downtown.
Right.
So
Same is true for the suburbs here. It takes
yeah.
about 30 minutes, McKinney, Plano. Now, we have another question too. North Dallas has explosive growth. Austin is becoming landlocked. So yes, we have experienced more growth to the north. So those looking to invest are actually looking further up into those smaller cities here. But what do you have to say about Austin becoming landlocked while I
I'm
get my
gonna
computer charger?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that. I think there are places where they won't build, but there are a lot of opportunities to build. There really are all over Austin. So, I mean, I'll give you an example. Over by the Tesla Gigafactory, there is nothing but green space. In fact, if you share, can I share my screen? I'm going to share this map real quick. So I pulled this up. Oh, she left. Oh, okay. Well, I'll pull it up in a second. I've got it ready to be shared. But there is a lot of buildable space around Austin. It's just what other things are out there that will entice people to build. That's really the question. So a lot of people are trying to stay along these major roadways. Well, if you're trying to stay along the major roadways, then yeah, it's landlocked. So Rebecca, I did a share. Are you able to share that?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to show this real quick. So you
Yeah.
can see the grayer areas. There's buildings. That's cement garden. What do you call it? Concrete jungle right there. I
Yeah.
heard that when I was in Hawaii. They said concrete jungle. But all the green, open build ability. Right. So you look at Liberty Hill. There's only a little spot right there. The rest, this is all open for build. All of
Yeah.
this. Georgetown, it's large, but there's so much right out here, right out here. So I think all this area still has a ton of space. And this is not a long drive. Hornsby, this
Yeah.
area is not a long drive to Austin. So, and then the Tesla Gigafactory, that's like, where is it? Like right
On the east
here?
side. Yeah.
Like right here, somewhere around here, maybe right
Yeah.
here. So,
Mhm.
but my point is like, there's still so much space to build that it's not really landlocked. And that's, so some of this is protected, but look, even south, look at all that.
Yeah.
A lot of it's trees and stuff. So we can build. We're not landlocked. It's just the direction and the speed at which the builders are accepting some of these projects, and then the cities. So I was on a podcast with a fellow realtor that a lot of people may know, and we were talking about. We had the mayor of Buda on.
Yeah.
Sorry, mayor of Kyle, and he was like, "No. See, we don't want to build out that fast." Same with Taylor over here. They said the same thing. They were like, nah, we don't want to build too fast because we see what's happened to Austin. So they're actually intentionally building slowly. They don't want to explode for whatever number of reasons. And so because of that, I think we have plenty of room to build. And a lot of these places are just taking it slow for whatever political agendas they have.
Yeah, I think part of your road systems too have to kind of be developed as well.
There's nothing here. Look at this. Like from 79
Yeah.
to 290, there's
Yeah.
nothing.
There needs
Nobody
to
wants to take
be
this look.
more
This road
development.
right here is probably like an alley.
Yeah.
You have to have a big old truck. You know?
I want to share my screen so we can kind of compare this part here. Let's see. So now I'll look at Dallas in the same retrospect here. Hang on, let me get rid of this. Right, go that way. There we go. Come on now, stop doing that. Okay, so you can see that we've got loops and loops, right? So we've got the loop here, we've got the loop 635 there. We've got another This is a toll road right here. So there's still growth that can happen here. And then this is where I am in McKinney. That's why you see a lot of growth up here, because all the
Yep.
growth is moving north into
Tons of
those areas,
opportunity.
because Dallas is locked
Yep.
now,
Yep.
as opposed to before. Obviously it wasn't. So
I like it.
well, I know that you've got to go.
I'm sorry. I know.
Wish you could
The
stay
timing was
longer.
off. I'm the guy. I'm the guilty one.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll remove that. But we'll wish you farewell for sure. And thanks for coming on and talking a little bit more about Austin, kind of what's happening there, and giving, taking the articles and giving it a little bit more perspective. We really appreciate that too, comparatively. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
again for
on.
having me. And
And where can they find you? Last thing, if they want to
where they
talk to
find
you.
me?
Yeah.
I left a comment on your channel, but Ian of Austin, anywhere on the internet, just like you. There you go, right there. Just look up Ian of Austin. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. You pick it. I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Sounds
just created an OnlyFans. Shh, don't let that out. But I just, like, I'm everywhere right now. So thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you.
See
Have a
ya.
good evening, guys.
Bye.